We live, Juana?
We are now.
Oh, level's good?
Yeah.
Check. What it is, everyone. We Eating presents the Free99 podcast. Follow us on SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Instagram. That's Free99 podcast. Be sure to listen, like, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to the sponsors: We Eating, the F4 Clothing Company, Entity Video Productions, possibly you. Email us askfree99@gmail.com. Philly Phil in the building.
What up?
Mono in the building. And we had to me a vet in the building. In the building. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, my man.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. It is the one and only OG Joker 1. Graffiti writer you either love or you hate or you love to hate.
Man,
All of the above. All of the above.
I love the art. Can I say that? I
appreciate it.
Toast to you, my man.
Cheers.
I love the art. You a class act.
Appreciate it. Hey,
you feel me?
Shout out to the class acts.
Hey, shout out to my boy Mike.
Yeah.
Current culture design.
Yeah,
Shout out to Mike. Yeah.
See, Mike, I'm repping. You see
I
how
see
that works?
you,
You
Mike.
got everything covered today.
I see
it all covered, man. And I appreciate that, man. Like, you know, I just appreciate all the support.
Yeah.
I appreciate being called to come do this.
Yeah.
I appreciate cats that break me down their brands and their shirts like F-Word clothing.
now.
One of the originals who had
Come
me
on.
laced up, all F-Word fitted.
Come on now.
You know what I mean?
Do you remember? All right, and then I'm gonna do some of my favorite memories with you. Like we did a dunk exchange over in Oakland at the
I
Coliseum.
absolutely remember that. Yeah.
So I don't want to. This is like 5, maybe 6 years back.
Yeah, definitely. About 5 years.
This is before having a clothing brand was popping.
Yeah. Before it was trendy.
Before it was trendy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
when
trendy
trendy
as a
everything.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
We had we did a dunk exchange, and we had my man Joker come out and did graffiti paint on what was Bugs' homegirl's name?
I forgot.
Oh, you did body paint, huh?
Yeah.
Bro, I was doing live body
Poor
painting.
guy.
That's the second time. That's the second time you did that for us too.
Yeah, you know, the job. Somebody's got to do it. I do remember
Was it
there
hard?
being
Was it
a
hard?
bunch of fly young ladies
Man.
in line to
Was it hard to
get body
concentrate?
painted.
Was it hard to concentrate?
No, you know,
No?
when you're a professional, you just stick to the artwork. And also, when you're as old as I am, you get this like feeling that you're being creepy with the 20-somethings.
Yeah.
So I keep it all to myself. I
But
stay
how old are you?
professional
Let's
in that
just put that
scenario.
out there.
I'm 46 years old, man.
That's not too long.
OG in the game.
Graduated, Urban Pioneers, Macketeer, 1992. 1992 was my graduation year.
Nice.
I had Wayne, man.
Yeah,
When I was
Shout
in
out to
Urban
Mac Block.
Pioneers,
Shout out to Mac.
there was only one class, and it was Wayne.
That was one, yeah.
And then it was like the next few years that they expanded and had the different classes with
that's
less. And then I came back and was staff at Urban Pioneers.
that right?
But they saved me for graduating on time. Without Urban and getting those credits,
Hell yeah.
I would have been another dropout flunky.
Hey, you did it.
Another victim of the Frisco graffiti scene in the early 90s.
And during this time though, you kind of stepped away from graph, right? Right after, like you stepped away from a little bit, and then you jumped back in the game.
I did. You're actually good for knowing that timeline. So,
He did his homework.
you know, yeah.
my man.
In the early 90s, that's what it was. You know, it's like that was the era for those who weren't there. Where, you know, a lot of people in San Francisco went from graffiti straight into
Gangs.
gangbanging after
Yeah.
high school in the
Just
early
blocks,
90s. Let's
yeah.
face it, that was the gangster rap era.
That was the
Everybody
culture.
like wanted to rock a rag and have a 9, you know, and a lot of people I know put down the spray can and picked up a dope sack and a pistol, and you know,
I'm getting this money.
yeah, not a lot of people made it out of that era, and I feel fortunate to have found my way somehow after going through the grimy 90s, which not everyone survived, to find my
Yeah.
way back, or rather graffiti found its way back into my life about 10 years ago now.
So
10 years ago, you
that-
got back into it?
Yeah, about 2008 was kind of my debut, my comeback,
welcome
you
back?
could say, yeah.
That, and then just touching on that, what year did you leave the game to come back to it? Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, so I continued to do graffiti probably through like 93, 94. But right at around that time, if my memory is serving me correctly, that was right when they made it, they implemented all new security on the bus yards.
Talk about the
Yeah,
bus
yeah,
yards.
all those new fences, and they had a bunch of new buses, and they were like, we're not getting this shit ran through like they used to do at the old bus yards. So along with all those new buses they got in the early 90s, they had a full state-of-the-art security system that included new fences, cameras, everything, and anything available at the time, security-wise. And at the time, I mean, I was just a vandal. I wasn't interested in pursuing graffiti beyond tagging on buses. Like, that's where I got my
You're just
graffiti
getting up.
joy from. Yeah, I was just getting up. I wasn't painting pieces. That's something I learned when I, as a result of my more recent comeback. I wasn't a piecer. I wasn't an artist. I was a vandal.
Hand style.
Yeah, it was all about hand styles. It was all about getting up on muni buses. Streets here and there, but really it was about buses. And so at the same time that the culture and the people I was around, all the writers were shifting into, and at the time we're also graduating high school, and so we're becoming young men and realizing, oh shit, we need to start making money. We need to start supporting ourselves. We ain't no like schoolboys anymore. So as everyone's turning 18, 19, the buses were no longer an option, and we kind of matured out of graffiti in a way, or at least most of us did at the time. And I was one of those people that took up, what we were doing at the time. Chilling on the block, selling dope, fucking hoes, riding around in cars, doing the shit we all did in the 90s.
That was back then or no?
When it wasn't. Yeah, no, that was back then. I'm gonna do that on the weekend.
Early 90s to like mid to late 90s was kind of wild because gangs were still really popping, and that was like grade school. That was me taking the bus from 30th Mission to Philem in Daly City.
Oh man, what a ride, dog!
Yeah, I was on 30th, so
you better tuck your shit on that ride.
I want to get that barbecue stick out.
that DF will get you.
Oh yeah,
DF will get you.
Yeah, in those days it was a real thing.
So what year? Okay, give us like your best memories of like the muni bus yards.
Oh man, I mean, there's no other feeling in the world for a graffiti writer of getting on a charity bus in the middle of the yards at night.
Fresh out, right?
Fresh out the like shop, like
all
brand
clean
new,
and
all
everything.
clean and shiny, and like that's the type of panel that you take an ultra wide marker juice with Pilot ink, and it just glides, and there's no streaking, there's no chalkiness, there's nothing gumming up your tip. It's just smooth, clean. It's just
It's like you were
butter.
making love to them.
Yeah, that's it. And then in that moment, that was where that feeling of creative joy came from, which I can only now kind of break down and identify as a more mature person who looks at things in a different way. In the moment back then, I was just having fun, you know what I mean? And so we used to just run through the bus yards, we used to go bus hopping and getting your name out, getting on the same bus and seeing your name in the back. There was no other feeling like that at the time. And
that was your social media.
and
that was your likes and followers right there.
That's it, and that's a good point, because I've come to this belief now, and I actually have a whole narrative that goes with it about how graffiti is the original social media. Before we had coined that term, and before we had social media technology, we had graffiti for thousands of years. This was a way that you as an individual could project an uncensored message, whatever that may be. We now do that on our phones through social media, but for thousands of years, people have just been literally writing on the wall rather than posting on your Facebook wall. So even the language we use with social media,
That was an OG Twitter
you used to say on Facebook, like, you can post something up on your
wall.
Like, convince me that's not a direct reference to graffiti. It's a wall. You're writing on it. And so, man, a lot more to say on that. But yeah, at the time, it was like that's where I would get the adrenaline rush. Because ultimately, if you're a graffiti writer, you're half rebel artist, half adrenaline junkie. And the two, and together you have somebody out there rocking buses,
How did you get
rocking
into
bus yards.
writing? How did you get what inspired you?
Well, first came hip hop. You know what I mean? I was a breakdancer before I was a graffiti writer, and that was in the late 80s.
Check the elements, fuckers.
That's it. Matter of fact,
check y'all elements.
I was part of a crew called the Bayview Breaking Crew.
Hey,
and we used to go to these little
Breaking
break-off
Crew.
competitions in Concord. You know what I mean?
That was a thing, like going to someone else's city and rocking.
Yeah, that's it. We all had our matching suits, and I was like the secret weapon. I was the white boy. I was the white boy. And they would always wait. They would wait until like the crescendo of the the battle. And then they would and then they would call me out, and they'd be like, "Oh, they got a white boy,
and he's killing y'all right now."
And my breaking name was Mr. Twister.
Mr. Twister.
And I was known for the never-ending backspin. So
never ending.
I mean, honestly, I wasn't very good, but I was dope as fuck at backspin. And I had this one like Adidas, like sweatsuit. And I would just spin like forever,
just carry you the whole time.
And it was always like part of the like finale of our little competitions at the time. So
team shut it down after that.
Yeah, and how that led to hip hop how that led to graffiti rather is right. We all know what's now called the 4 elements of hip hop, right?
Yes, sir.
And so it started with breakdancing. Then I remember. Specifically, when I was in 6th grade at Herbert Hoover Middle School.
Hey, shout out to Hoover.
Before I got kicked out and sent to Everett.
Hey, shout out to Everett, too.
Yeah.
Shout out to the whole Frisco,
so
man.
I remember specifically in 6th grade, my best friend at the time, and I'll call him out by name, Dylan Duarte.
So Duarte.
My homie Dylan.
Government name.
He essentially, the way I remember it is he came to me one day after school and said, it's kind of corny, but he said, we have to start tagging. and we're 11 years old, so let's put this in context. We're like 11-year-old kids, fresh into middle school, you know what I mean? And he's like, we got to start tagging. And I think my response was, what's tagging? And he said, man, graffiti. He's like, we already breakdance and strut. He's like, we got to start doing graffiti.
That's the next step.
He's like, that's hip hop. And so I said, okay, what do we do? And he said, well, first we need markers, And so I remember this. I remember this in detail. We took the bus from Hoover to Diamond Heights Safeway, or no, not even Safeway. It was like Pay and Save or something like that.
At the time, right?
Yeah, at the time. It
That's
was
just
Pay and
hella
Save,
old.
which it was like kind of the equivalent of Walgreens for those that don't remember. So there was still, right. You get it. So there was a Pay and Save, and I think that was when I stole my first marker. We went in there. We didn't have any money. And I grabbed like a Magnum 44 and a Marks-a-Lot marker and just like stuffed them in my sleeve, and we walked out all scared, and we were so paranoid as 11-year-olds to go do graffiti. Of course, in retrospect, it's like we weren't scared to steal the markers, but we were so paranoid to actually write on something. If you're familiar with Diamond Heights, we actually hiked all the way down to Glen Canyon.
Okay.
And we found this like bench in the middle of the fucking jungle down there. Clearly no one had like seen it in years, right? It was like covered in moss. I remember we like scratched some moss off to like, and we were so paranoid. There's nobody around, of course. Okay. We were so paranoid. We're like, yo, watch my back. And he gave me my first tag at the time. And made up a tag for himself, which I've forgotten. But he gave me my first tag.
Okay.
This is the first time this has ever been recorded anywhere.
Is that right?
I've told this story, but this is the first time it's ever been recorded, just for the record.
Dope.
My very first tag when I was 11 years old was sheepdog.
How'd you spell it, though?
I spelled it normally. I didn't even know enough to like try to make it cool or different.
You weren't even sheepdog 1, you were just sheepdog.
Yeah, it was just sheepdog. It was before he knew about one.
He just said,
well, at the time...
Looney Tunes?
Aside from being breakdancers, we were also getting into skating because that was getting real big in here and in the late 80s. The whole Alta, Thrasher, Tony Hawk. Kind of before all that became mainstream. This was the underground scene. That was the other thing going along. And there was a really cool hybrid culture in San Francisco of skating,
Frisco bred that
punk scene, gangster shit,
independent
like pre-gangster, all of that. Yeah, it was just the independent counterculture scene. And, it was a big hodgepodge of all the cool people that were kind of going against the grain of mainstream society.
Straight up.
And so all that to say that I got that tag because. And you wouldn't know it now, but at the time, I had a thick head of hair and a big swoop of hair that came down and hung over my eyes.
Like Shaggy?
Like Sheepdog in the old school cartoon.
Oh, shit.
Old school Sheepdog and Leghorn, or whatever, Foghorn Leghorn cartoons. Remember Sheepdog?
Sheepdog.
With the hair that covers?
From Looney Tunes.
Yeah, so that was my first tag in 1986.
1986. And about that time, like, if you look at it, everything that we knew as far as like hip hop, or even like into the gang era, everyone was named after cartoons.
Yeah.
See? You feel me?
So that was a natural go-to.
Yeah.
I didn't know enough, but my homeboy, Dylan, luckily knew enough to be like, yo, that fits you.
You should do a piece today with that.
You know, I really should. I really should with that character.
Yeah.
I should even just do a sheepdog piece. That
Just
says
a head,
Shadow.
and it'll have like a Joker tag.
In fact, I should just fucking leave Joker.
And go
That's
back
the
to
lamest
sheepdog.
tag ever, and just go back to sheepdog.
You built
because I'll be the only one.
You'll be the only sheepdog.
Did you get shit for being Joker?
Oh, absolutely! It's
Really
such a gift and a curse of a tag of a name. And you know, I
It's
took
like-
that
it's like-
name on the next year when I really got heavily into graffiti. And if I can, real quick, just
Please.
so that was my very first time I tagged. But how I
Sheepdog.
really got into graffiti and got into the scene is when I ended up getting kicked out of Hoover and landed in Everett in 7th grade. This is 1987 now.
Sheesh.
And I had art class with a young man named Adon, otherwise known as Copper, nowadays known as Spooks, founder and owner of Dying
Gift to
Breed, Gift to Gab, and Dying Breed.
I respect the OG.
Yeah. And so
respect
he's
the
old
OG.
school Mission District. And, you know, for that first year of art class together, the only thing I did every single day was look through his black book. And he had all these full color, full sketches, full graffiti productions with you know, little homies on street corners with street poles.
In 7th
Sick
grade?
old school in 7th grade.
Wow.
And he had full color graffiti pieces with these little characters. And I didn't even know why I was so attracted to it. But I remember every art book, like every day for a whole entire year, the first thing I did every day was like, let me see your sketchbook. I remember to this day every single page. I looked at them over and over, and I fell in love with that art. And I at the time, I didn't know why it was so appealing to me, but I just, it touched me somehow because it was so different than anything I had seen before as far as art. And it really tapped into what I now know is, you know, the creative part of me that has, you know, has always been there. But it tapped that the looking through his sketchbook. So that's who really I can attribute
Copper.
to getting me in. Yeah.
He used to have a
Spooks.
shop in San Jose.
Yeah, he had Gift to Gab in San Jose for many years.
Shout out to Spooks.
Yeah, shout out to Spooks.
Shout out
man.
to Spooks, man. Like his
Free Spooks, yo. Free Spooks.
Free
Come home
Spooks.
soon, dog. He'll be
Hey,
back. He'll be
Dying
back in a
Breed, you
minute.
rocking,
Yeah, and now he's Dying Breed. He's killing it.
killing it. You rocking.
Yeah.
I think you did a live art show out there.
Yeah.
And then
He used to have those
we were there.
events.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had you guys.
Yeah, we've been
And
there.
he had like Quipto performing and some
Sure
other
did.
cats. So he.
Yeah, Jake and all that.
That's
Bartman,
right.
yeah.
That's right. And he had the whole AJ mob. Shout out to
Yeah.
AJ.
Shout out to AJ Mom.
That's
Always
right.
juicy.
Chef, Draft,
Avoid
everybody else.
jail.
You already know.
You feel me?
So yeah, so that's actually who introduced me, and essentially, long story short, I kept tagging him, showing him, yo, look at my tag, and he's like, you know, kind of go away, little
Was it still
white
was
kid.
it still sheepdog at that?
It wasn't. It was a few other incarnations at the time, and then he pretty much ignored me all of 7th grade. And then by the time I was in 8th grade, he had transitioned into high school.
Oh, okay.
But we were still in touch. And then that in the summer between 7th and 8th grade is when I took the name Joker. And I started getting up. I started hitting buses, and I developed a style. I had a natural hand style that was clean. I started getting up, and so when I ran into him again, he was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" You know, and I was like, "What's up, dog? Like, I see you rocking. You know, I see your tag running on buses." He's like, "Yeah, what are you right now?" And I said, "Joker." He's like, "Wait, you're Joker? That's you?" And in that moment,
My boy was baffled.
and in that moment, he was like, "Damn, dog, you're running." And then I got
For
into
those don't know,
ROF.
what does running mean? Come on, let's break down the
let's
culture.
break it down. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, running means you see your name everywhere. Running means that
You're getting around.
you're putting in work, and you writing your name faster than they can take it down.
This is pre-BART, so everyone had to be on the bus.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, and back in those days, if you hit a tag on a bus, it was good for like at least 2 or 3 weeks.
Before they
Yeah.
buffed
The buff schedule was way different back then. So you could rock a window sitting on the back seat of a bus, and that shit would still be there like 2 weeks later.
How long did it take you to perfect that backwards?
Oh man.
Let's get that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
For the
yeah.
record, I can't write for shit. My writing's messy. I've never been, but I love the culture. I'm
I can't
love
wear
the
shit.
culture.
Well, you know how you know somebody is like from Frisco is you just look at their handwriting, you know, and like I can look at a motherfucker's handwriting on a form at DMV and be like, "What you used to write?" Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. Like you can see it in the S. Yeah. What high school did you go to? Right?
Oh, you were
man.
You were on Ocean then. I seen that around Ocean.
Yeah.
You started breaking out people's high school like that. I knew where you were running at.
Damn.
So that's a very important piece of like you had to be out. Like no one could like. How do I break this down? Like a like is people seeing you. Feel me? Like you were really out there. You had to put in your footwork. You couldn't be in the house and do this.
No.
You had to really be a foot soldier.
Work. That's right. And before we started counting views, we got view counters on social media. See how many people viewed our videos.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, graffiti writers, we've been counting views just in our head for decades.
Whoever comes up to you, I seen you running.
Because when I hit that tag up on the window of the 22 Fillmore or the 24 or the 14 or the 6 or the 7, those are my lines. When I hit that tag up in my head, I'm knowing like, okay, I'm calculating. I'm like that meme with all the calculations in the top and the it's like I'm calculating how many people are going to see it. Yeah. Well, that's going to run through here, and these riders hang out over there. They board the bus down at West Portal on the 48, so they're going to see that run. And by the time it goes to the Mission, all the homeboys on 24th going to see it running. And that's why we used to hit windows, because you could see it running from the outside.
Yeah. And then
that's when that backwards tag came in.
Yes.
Boom.
How long did it take you to perfect that?
It took me a minute. I mean, let's face it, I was pretty good with the hands. I was a natural, and so and that's ultimately how I earned my rep in the Muni graffiti scene back in the late '80s, because of my hands. I wasn't the most up, and I wasn't the hardest, but I had hands, and people always said, "Yo, you got style, kid."
I respect it.
So before all that, were you like into drawing and all that, or
was art a thing for you?
Or was it just something you picked up?
I think it was. I never really considered myself an artist or an amazing person before my introduction to graffiti. But again, in retrospect, sure, I was drawn to being creative. I think,
You found your calling, basically.
I found my calling, and the sad thing is I've come to believe that everybody is an amazing creative person who could find a calling in the creative arts on some medium or on some level. But because of the way society is designed and because of the way capitalism works, we have that kind of beaten out of us pretty quickly as kids.
Yeah.
Whether it's by our parents or by other things in our environment.
To not go outside.
Yeah, because why? That doesn't make money traditionally. Yeah. And so I think everybody has an amazing, genius, talented, inspired artist inside them. And you can see it because it comes out later in different people. When they realize they've chased money their whole lives, when people get to middle age, they have a void and they're like, what's missing? And that's when you see people begin to dig for that creative energy inside of them, and then it comes out in pursuits like this, or
craft. Right. You know what I mean?
And so every human being, to be a balanced person, needs to have a creative outlet, and that can take a lot of different forms and formats. But at the end, without that, you have a void.
I 100% believe that. Hey. Toast to that. 100% believe that. And oh my God, like, so you took a break, you jump back in, and is it safe to say now this is your full-time, like this art form has created you a full-time job?
Right. Yes.
Can you talk? Can you talk about?
Say off the top, when I started painting again in 2008. Which, if you want to know, I can talk about how that happened. But I had no idea that I, about 6 years later, would quit my regular day job to my lady's dismay at the time. She's like, "You're gonna do what? Quit your good job?"
Was it a good job?
It was a good job with full benefits. I was working for the San Francisco Food Bank as a program coordinator. I was doing a good thing, working nonprofit, getting a good salary, have full benefits for the fam. And I you know, I had already been painting, bombing, you know what I mean, for a couple of years at this point. And then what essentially happened was I started getting offers from people to do paid
Commissions.
commission mural work, commission graffiti, commission street art, commission
What was your
murals,
first
whatever
one?
you want to call. Oh man, I think it was a truck. It definitely was a truck. And I think it was the one. You know what? I've forgotten which was my very first. Not like a taco truck, but like a delivery truck.
It was like a delivery
box
truck. It was like a dry clean. The one was a dry cleaning truck.
Yeah, it was one of those old school ones, you know. And,
There was a couple vans
and I
in there,
remember
too.
they I didn't even know. I thought we were just painting it, and then they paid us afterwards. They gave us each a couple $100, and then eventually, so like it got to the point where word of mouth got around, which is how this business works. People kept offering me paid gigs, but I had to refuse them because I didn't have time. I was working 9 to 5. You know what I mean? And then eventually it got to the point where I started doing the math, and I was like, wait, I just got offered 6 gigs this month, and I'm looking at my monthly take-home salary, and then I'm doing the math, and I'm like, I could have made more money this month had I taken all of these gigs.
Cash too.
Yeah,
Cash.
And so after a few months of that, I eventually told my lady at the time, my daughter's mother, that I was like, I'm gonna quit my job and pursue graffiti art as a full-time career. And she laughed. she was like, and no, you not.
What? She's like,
And then you said, who's laughing now?
and she was like, and end scene.
And
Scene 2.
Long story short, we're no longer together, and I'm making dough now.
That's what I said, who's laughing now?
Yeah. And so, and I even say that, rest in peace, moms. But I send that to my
God bless
moms.
the
I'm
dead.
like, in your face, moms.
Yeah.
Look who's getting paid for this shit now. You used to give me all that grief about graffiti, but look at me now.
Getting paid, yeah.
And so that was the beginning. I did it. I jumped off the cliff, man. I didn't know. It took me a good 2 years of being a starving artist and broke and not having enough money for what I needed to survive.
Sink or swim.
But I anticipated that. I knew that it would take a little while to and now, so fast forward now, 2019, and let me just say that I'm making more money now than I've ever made in my entire life. With any salaried job working for somebody else.
Flex.
And I work half the hours.
There you go.
And when I'm working, I'm doing the thing that I love to do.
You're
So you're not really working.
So thank you. Can we toast to that?
Hey, can we toast to that?
Can we toast to that?
Shit that you love. Do what you love what you do.
That part. You know what I'm
Do
saying?
what you love what you do. If I could do that for...
Yeah.
Do it, bud.
We were on to something when we tagged on that bench.
Let's go
When we
tag.
tagged on that bench in 1986. We were on to something, and all we had to do was be patient. And 30-something years later, the world caught up to what we were on.
You have to keep
And they
watering that
valued it,
plant,
and
man.
now we're getting paid to do it.
It's different now in marketing. You see graffiti now more on TV than you do on the streets.
It's everywhere.
Right.
It's everywhere.
So
marketing.
that's another conversation that I'm sure we can get into.
Please.
Because the current game of graffiti is complex. It's nuanced. A lot of people want to see it as black and white, but it's not. And there's a lot of different opinions out there. There's a lot of people very passionate about those opinions. There's definitely a younger generation of graffiti writers who, in my mind, I kind of think of them as the purists, where
Meaning?
they want graffiti to go back to what it was when I was a kid.
Okay.
Which is, and these are people who might look at anything with permission, and especially if you're getting paid, as selling out of the graffiti game. And so that's a valid thing. There is a selling out and a commodification of graffiti art. There is a gentrification of the graffiti scene happening. But I think some people don't want to take the time to understand the complexity and the nuance of that scenario. And I'm happy to break it down because this is my full-time job now and my livelihood. I think a lot about this. And
I got my 2 cents for you when you're done.
yeah,
Go ahead,
no, I'm kind of going on and on, but
I love it.
all right, should I just keep going?
Listening.
Yeah, so
Preach.
and I'm sensitive to this because I have a lot of what we might call haters or people that to break that, to unpack that.
Okay.
Just to say people that disagree with how I'm using graffiti to enrich myself or rather to survive, to make a living.
Say that part again. How
I'm using graffiti to enrich myself.
And survive.
And that's
using
the
that
key
as
part.
your okay.
Yeah. And it's funny
I
because
just want to highlight that.
a lot of the people that are hating on me, the people of my generation, that's, all congrats. And, they're all love. Mm-hmm. But it seems to be the younger generation and people that, again, folks that want graffiti to go back to what it was. It's like they yearn for this time. They have this romanticized idea of the rebel artist and how they fit into that persona, right? And what can I say? Everything changes and evolves. And I just happen to be born at the right time. We got into graffiti when the slate was blank.
Yeah, you could do
the idea of a legal wall with permission. Back in the days, if we got permission or we're getting paid to do a wall, there's no shame in that. We were excited. I was taught to put your name up no matter how you can.
Yeah.
And if you were getting paid and had permission, even better.
Just real quick, I want you to continue.
Yeah.
Back in 96 to 97, I used to go to San Diego to visit my cousin. And then there was a store that had its own side. And they did a mural piece. Like it was they did a production.
Right.
Full on production.
Yeah.
And then with that production, the city told them to take it down, and this is on their property.
Yes.
So this is just me underlining like how hard it is for it to be accepted to where it is now. And continue.
Absolutely, and that's a really great point because that happened in San Francisco. We've had up to this day that happens in San Francisco, where people will say, we love art. We just don't like this kind of art because of the message it sends. We don't like that lower class or ghetto art. So I've had murals that I've been paid to do, and I've had the owner had to call me and say, "Yo, I'm really sorry, but for this, that, and the other reason, and these people don't like it, we're gonna have to remove the mural because it's that style of art and they're not ready." And ultimately that in 2019 is old school. Like most up and coming young professionals now that even aren't into hip hop, aren't in graffiti, they know now that street art, graffiti art, I like to call it, is the hot thing. So we get less of that now, but
it's the city's soul.
Yeah, and the point, of course, is that back in the days, we were stoked to get permission to do a wall. And people now in the graffiti game, again, that younger generation, look down on legals. But my thing is this. I have a couple of just main bullet points around this that I use.
This is your platform.
Yeah, that's right. And it's like this. If you have put in your work in the underground, or some people like to say the illegal graffiti scene, if you've put your work in and you've been there and you started in that, then you therefore have earned the right to profit off of that culture.
Of course.
If you are coming from the outside and you've never been a writer and you look at it as an opportunity to make some quick money because it's what's hot now, then that is the selling out of graffiti.
Say it again for the people in the back.
Yeah. Hold on, run that back right now.
That's right. You have to pay your dues.
Okay, go ahead.
That's how I feel about people when they DJ.
Hey, Free99 podcast, bitch.
That's right.
This is the Free99 podcast.
That's how I feel about people that DJ nowadays.
Well, it's the same with
the
every
DJ
element of hip hop.
The DJ scene, people come in and just download whatever they need. Man, you weren't there digging for records. You weren't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, check this out.
Run that back.
I got scars. I got scars all over my body. I got a rap sheet this long. I'm fighting 3 felonies right now, graffiti related.
You're fighting 3?
I'm fighting 3 felonies. They want to send me to prison.
Can we talk about the one?
No, hold on. We'll get to that. You got to tune in, fuckers. Go ahead.
The point is, I've lost friends in graffiti. I've had near-death experiences recently where I thought I was going to die and somehow by the grace of the universe was saved. You know what I mean? So I've paid my dues. And for that, you damn straight I can sit back in the daytime and take my time and paint graffiti.
I respect you,
I've earned
OG.
that and get paid for it at the end of the day.
I respect you, OG.
Yeah. Thank you.
You feel me? Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
And some people, don't agree with that. That's okay. I believe in everybody has the right to have their own opinions based on where they come from and based on the experiences they've had in life. But when you're 46 years old and you've been living a graffiti life on and off for 30 plus years, you know what I mean? You have the right to get paid for it. Now, to add on to that, specifically, a lot of people have opinions about the workshops that I teach.
Okay.
Because a lot of my clients in the graffiti workshops I teach are from the tech industry.
Okay.
Techies.
Okay.
And so I get it. I get the resentment that comes out in that way. I totally get it. However, let me just say this, in any business, in a capitalist system, whether you agree with capitalism or not, we're all living in it. In any business, you have to go where the money is.
Yep.
You have to go where the money is. And yes, I teach techie workshops. Do I lose sleep over that at night? Frankly, sometimes I do.
Really?
Yeah, I do. It's something that I wrestle with. It is, and that's something that I wrestle with.
And is that okay? Just touching on that, is that because this is home? Like Frisco's home, like all of us in this room right now this is home for us. You know what I mean? This is all we know, right? So is it because what you're seeing San Francisco is turning into? Is that why you wrestle with it, Joker?
Yeah, I mean,
Frisco's going to change regardless.
Yeah,
though.
right. So there's so many different layers to unpack of that. It is very complex, and that's where it goes back to like people want to be black and white. You're either like for or against.
Yeah.
But it's really more complex than that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so first of all, again, back to the business thing. It's like to make money, you got to go where the money is.
Facts.
And also another thing is like, I looked at this as one step, one part of my pathway. Eventually, I would love to be teaching classes for young people, who don't have $100 a head, and I still do that on the side. And one thing that I do, and the way that I just personally balance all of that out is, folks know that I'm always down to do community murals, work with community, work with youth groups, and I don't charge for that. You know what I mean? And it's almost like one of these things where like I take the money that I make from the invaders and then disperse that through donating my artwork. So when the school or the nonprofit or the mother who's lost her teen to street violence wants a mural, I have the paint and I have the time to create that and give that free of charge to the community. And
you've done that.
And I've been doing that historically, even before. So
you've been like this is nothing new.
Yeah, it's nothing new.
This is nothing new. My boy Joker's been out here with this shit. So just touching on that, like with quote unquote techies, with that energy coming into the Bay Area, at least you're getting a piece of the pie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, come on, man. It's money out there.
It's not a big piece. You're not getting a big piece.
And then on top of that, they want to learn a culture that you've been a part of. It's not like they're saying, I don't want you. They're actually accepting the part
and that's a really good point. So that's another whole aspect of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So there's this idea of... So a lot of people will tell me like, yo, Joker, it's not that you're selling graffiti that like I care about. You can profit off graffiti. It's that you're specifically teaching these techies this sacred, coveted culture we have. Yeah. And so that's another thing. Let me address that because, listen, I'm an empath. Like what you feel, I feel.
Okay.
That's something I can't help. That's a gift I was born with. And I will tell you this. When you are teaching another human being an outlet, creative outlet, and showing them a creative technique, there's an exchange of energy there that transcends all of that. So there's, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with showing something to somebody that is amazing and cool and will possibly change their outlook.
Culture.
Yeah, that's right, and it's the spirit. It's the spirit of the culture. And whenever you're teaching something to somebody on a creative level, you're uplifting that person. And, you know, I don't put a lot of investment to that. I don't necessarily think I'm going to change these people's lifestyles or worldview.
It gives them a different perspective of the art.
At the end of the day, if they don't call the cops when they see someone tagging, I've done a fucking good thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Real talk.
So
they're going to be the ones that's not going to take down the mirror.
Yeah, exactly. Next time they fucking, you know, in 10 years from now when they grow up and own a fucking, you know, something, they're going to want some, you know, I mean, whatever. Like, I can go on and on, but
No,
you get the point.
I respect it. I respect it. It's you are my dude's 46 years old. He put in his time. He got the scars. he got the rap sheet. He earned it. Okay, can I say this? Your stripes are earned.
That's it.
Can I say that? So
pay your dues, man.
Okay, pay your dues.
You're gonna get
then
the reward.
you can make the choices on your life.
That's
my
right.
dude's getting paid to do what he loves, and if I could get paid to do what I love, good God, I would take that opportunity.
I'm saying, right?
You feel me?
There's literally some people telling me like you should quit your job, and I'm like, do you have another job that will like equal that? 'Cause
you don't even
just
shut
like-
the fuck up.
And you know, I mean,
goodness.
And then people also don't realize, like, I come from the '90s, bruh. We will pimp anything. We
90s.
will hustle anything.
And then thing is,
You know what I'm saying?
It's a different, like 90s,
It's
early
a different
90s,
mentality.
It's a different
dog.
game.
It was
I don't.
hardcore.
I couldn't remember how many times people checked my pockets on the bus.
Yeah.
In the 90s because I was on
we
the
gonna
wrong
get
bus.
our money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, you know, if I want to pimp myself out for my skills, like,
Why not?
why not?
Yeah.
Are you a family man?
Oh man, I am a family man.
See?
So I got 4 kids, and in addition to that, I got 4 baby mamas.
My boy
Let me
Joker
just
out here.
put that out there. I think I've had too
You know
much.
what I mean?
Remember when we said some things are off limits? Remember the off limits agreement?
Let's figure out what bus lines are at.
Nah, we didn't hit the limit. Damn, what y'all got me drinking? It's truth serum or some shit?
I'm just saying, man. It's,
4 baby mamas.
So I got 4 baby mamas.
Shit.
I got a grandchild.
you have a grandchild.
Yeah.
My dude's a grandfather. Get off his back.
You know what I'm saying?
Get
that money.
I'm the
Get that
official
money.
like graph grandpa. You know what I mean? And so
You're the cool grandpa
I got
now.
dues to pay. And
Yeah.
I'll be damned if I fucking sit and slave for somebody else's company every day, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
My
Man,
goal is
I
your
don't know.
goal.
So
My goal is your lifestyle, bro. I'm telling you.
yeah, peace to my haters. I love y'all. That's important. Keep me on my toes. Don't stop. But it keeps me motivated, and it also informs me. It gives me, helps me take the temperature of where the youth culture is at.
Get out of my
and
dude's
I,
pocket, though.
as a historically youth worker, youth development worker, which is actually what I did professionally for many years before I entered the graph game. Worked in nonprofits, worked with youth, worked in juvenile hall, did gang prevention at midnight with Kaya's program, hopped out of vans on gang members and told them, come on and watch a movie
Joker.
instead of get shot. Fuck! Like, I've been at this, you know what I mean? And so
You remember your pager code?
yeah, I did. And it was 91717. And that equaled 9 because at the time I was carrying a 9mm. Which I one
You
time
had to, though.
got pulled over on 17th and Mission with a car full of West Coast Kings, my graffiti crew at the time.
Yikes.
And I fucking went down for that. You know what I mean? I got caught with my shit.
Really?
Yeah, and that's another story. And so, you know what I mean? Like, I've been there, and at my age, man, I want to kick back and paint and get a paycheck. And
you
anyone
do
who
it.
hates on that, it's good. I still love you.
Hey, when you have haters, that means you're doing something right.
Yeah, what's the saying? If you ain't got no haters, you ain't doing shit.
Exactly.
Right. Can we talk
Boom.
about
Cheers to y'all.
Cheers. This is the Free99 podcast. Joker's in the building.
Cheers
We
to
in
the
Philly
episode
Phil.
right here.
This is Gus. Hey, this
Y'all should be charging for this game.
my
right here.
motherfucker is dropping gems right now.
cents.
Shout out to my boy Joker. He's dropping gems right now. The graph culture
Appreciate
is
y'all.
something I always loved, but
Hell yeah.
I never had the hands.
Yeah.
My shit's
I don't
so
have
wide.
talent, bro. I don't have talent.
Yeah, you guys didn't bomb. You guys didn't write.
I didn't write.
No.
I bombed in my notebook.
Yeah, I bombed in my like.
But you guys were still of the generation where everyone had a tag.
Yeah.
And whether it made it out of the pages of your math notebook or not,
Yeah.
you
It
still
was
had
there.
a tag.
Yeah,
Everyone
I had
had
a
a
tag.
tag and had a hand style of that generation.
Yeah. I will not say my
There's
tag.
there's some writers.
Writers?
There's some writers that could be listening right now. I was a writer too. I was Game Don't Stop.
Hey!
You know, like,
Frisco shit, man.
Like these writers want to know. Who did you have beef with, like, back growing up? Who did you have beef with?
You want to talk about that? You want to talk about
I'll
writer
talk
beef?
about it. I mean,
You CA, right?
I'm CA mob.
See?
Honestly, though, I'm
Love the
CA
CA mob.
as of like recently, good like 5. So I was an original CA, and however, I will say that since I've been in CA, we had a major beef, and we had the type of beef where it was like. Get your homeboys and meet at the skate park. We are no weapons, no guns, no knives. We all gonna get together and fight. We gonna handle this, and after that, it's gonna be squash. Nobody's gonna be going over nobody. And
Just some man shit.
whoever leaves bloodiest, you know,
Wins.
yeah, right. Or
It's just to
loses.
get it out real quick.
Yeah, and so that happened. You know what I mean? And that was. You know what I mean? That was the CA BTM beef. That's no secret. That's it.
So, talking about what year was the CA BTM beef?
Oh man, you know I'm really not in a position to speak to the full details. That was
Okay.
actually right after I got in CA, within months. And I remember
Really?
getting that call like,
Was it because of you?
"Yo, Joker." It wasn't because of me, and I'm not going to get into the names. Okay, that is something I won't get into the specifics.
Respect.
but only
CA,
because I don't
BTM.
know enough because I was new, and so I had gotten in CA like a month earlier, and then it was like a weekend, and I get this call. And, I'm about to, go do something with my kid or something. And I get this call. Yo, dog, we need you. We got beef. We're meeting up at the skate park to rumble.
I just want to.
And I was like, wait, what did I get myself into? I thought we were doing legal murals, dog. Now we're rumbling at the skate park.
What year was this?
So this was a good, 5 years ago.
Okay.
Damn,
5 years ago?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm an old guy.
That's in the teens.
And so...
41.
Yeah. I'm in my 40s, right? And I'm getting this call, and then I was like, all right, when and where? You know what I mean? I already know.
can't say
dog.
no.
Come
I'm already
on,
in the
man.
building.
Yeah, I'm in the building. Come on, I'm CA mob to the heart. What's up? Do we need to? You know what I mean? What do we need to do? Let me know. Come swoop me. I'm ready. And so that happened, you know what I mean? There were fights. There were multiple fights that day.
That day
At the skate park off of 3rd, right next to the Muni Yards, coincidentally.
Yikes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yikes.
So for those that know where that skate park is, there was a crew rumble that happened
Yeah.
between CA and BTM.
Talking about Third and Army.
Yeah, and there were specific
Third and
people
Army.
that had beefs that were able to handle that, and there were winners and losers, and the beef was squashed after that.
So it was on some real OG shit to where let's go here, make it happen. After it happens, shit's done.
Yeah, that's it. Real
how all
OG.
beef-
That's
that's
how
how-
beef should be handled.
Yeah.
And
By
no
the way,
guns.
shout out to BTM.
Shout out to BTM.
Be all good now. You see how that works.
It's love.
Niggas fight, go home with black eyes and busted lips, and then live to tell the tale, and then get together for a drink later.
Fight
you
the
know what I'm
next.
saying?
You know what I
You
mean?
live to fight another
live
day.
to fight
That's
another
it.
day.
The actual bombing battle. Who
right.
won between
That
Bo-
part.
so Mono talking about the bombing
Yeah,
battle.
no, because that's what the writers want to know. Who crossed out who the most and was up. Who,
Man,
That was the thing.
The battle I want
We're
to
not gonna
talk
get a
about
bias
is
story.
longer. Is way before most of your listeners were born. You know what I'm
I'm pretty
saying?
sure. I'm pretty
But-
No,
sure.
I don't know. We got some old ass listeners.
Right? Actually,
We got some-
actually, on second thought,
Yeah, we G's.
That's right. That's
Who
right.
won the writing battle? Who won the
Yeah.
bombing battle?
So I mean,
You're always gonna say you won.
yeah.
You
I mean,
feel me?
yeah, we did win.
Shout out to BTM though. Shout out to the CA.
So that was different. That was beef.
Okay.
But there was a graffiti battle that happened. It's a historic battle. It's the battle between ROF and GF. If you're a Muni writer from the late '80s era, you know it because it was
ROF
the biggest battle at the time. Yeah.
and GF.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
Know what? The names, the words change. Well, to you, if someone says ROF to you, what does that mean?
Yeah, I mean that's Renegades of Funk, and that was the first graffiti crew I ever was in. That's an old school mission crew. Matter of fact, I brought it back, so it's a crew now.
ROF.
Yeah, that's right. we're laying low right now, but we're about to have a crew meeting before the end of this year, and the members are there. We have a couple of old, but mostly I've recruited new, young up and comers, young hitters, and not no muralists, motherfuckers out there that's really putting in work.
Bombers.
Yeah, and from the Mission District, you know what I mean. Everybody's from the Mission District, or at least from Frisco. Most of the young cats
Love the Mission.
Yeah, and. You know what I mean? And so I'm actually making an effort to bring that back. But everybody knows. So that was the crew that Ruben, who at the time was known as R1, started. Spooks Copper at the time was in that. And that was the first crew I was led into. And I was given permission by them to restart the crew and make it a new thing. And that was a few years ago. So we got some hitters. Yeah, we're a little bit dormant. You'll see a hit up here and there right now, but we're going to have a big crew meeting around the end of the year that will actually ideally propel us into current relevance, which is, graffiti is all about relevance.
Yeah.
Honestly, like if you stop hitting up for a few months, you're not the most talked about anymore.
ROF, and what did GF stand for to you?
GF was Graffiti Funk. So, funk
Renegade
was a big thing.
Yeah,
it was like Renegades of Funk versus Graffiti Funk.
That's 80s though. That's
this is 80s.
That's
this
80s.
Is late 80s.
Yeah.
This is around 80. I want to say 88.
Yeah.
I want to say 1980.
Hey,
and
that's
this
80s.
battle was all about 14 missions. Let's just say it.
Yeah.
It was all about 14,
boys!
and it was a bus hopping battle. Yeah. And in this battle, you would see crews, graffiti crews, passing each other, going
On the bus lines.
You
You
would
would
look
look
at
at each
hanging
other.
out the windows, like, what's up? And we were all just mobbing these buses, getting it up on as much. I mean, this is the excitement of graffiti.
That's when you can pop out the window and then sit out it.
Pop out the window.
Oh, we can't do that shit
For those young people, this is before cell phones and cameras everywhere. So if you
have
did
to
not
live
get
it.
caught red-handed, you're good.
Yeah.
If you're
You
not
can
in
do
the
any
mission
fucking
when
thing.
it's popping,
Yeah.
you didn't know what happened.
That's right.
You just
I
heard
mean,
about
I
it.
remember buses pulling up on 24th and Mission. This was actually different. This was at a writers' meeting.
Shout out to you, man.
And pop the cables and just rush front,
Just kill
side,
it.
sides, everything. Everybody hitting
Okay.
ultras, cans.
Let me break that
You know what I mean?
down. So what he's saying is the buses would stop at 24th and Mission. This is when the buses ran on the line,
They ran
y'all.
on electric cables.
They ran on
and had
electric
wires
cables
on the back.
And then after knowing you had to have someone that had gloves, or you can get shot.
That's right.
So the one homie with the gloves, or would throw a jacket on their hands and just pull it down, and then whoever could crush that bus.
Actually, to correct you on that,
Please.
this was before the cables. You had to have gloves. They were actually rope, like cloth rope.
Cloth rope.
These were
still
actually
rope? It's
cloth
still
rope,
It's still rope.
so you could grab it without a glove
still
and just
rope?
It's still
pull
rope
it.
because I drive the 14 mission.
There you go. See? So if you touch it without your glove, so that's a myth. Then. That's an urban myth.
Hey, okay, I'm gonna say something. If folks don't see it, we have a silk screen here. I think we should do a Joker Free99 silk screen to where we hit these, then you hit over it. That
was ready right now, bro.
Fund the
That was
podcast,
pretty dope. You have that,
and then you just go over it.
right
Ah!
I hate to be that guy, but is there a way I can smoke?
Yeah, please,
Do it.
please.
And sorry, not weed.
No, please.
Okay.
Please.
See, y'all Filipinos smoke cigarettes and shit.
No, it's
yeah.
weed. It's in the culture, man.
Yeah, that's it. I used to bum cigarettes off my homeboy's grandma. My Filipino.
And she give it to you.
Yeah, and she'd always give it to me, yeah.
So the bus line, so you guys would hop on, because 2-4 was always popping.
Always. That was like the graffiti writer spot in my day for the people that I was around. I know there were different spots around. West Portal was a spot in the mid '80s. There were some spots further up Mission, you know what I mean, where some cats kicked it, like even up by Sickles and Mission, the benches.
Yeah.
But like 24th and Mission, that was like the
That's
spot
hard to me.
that I aspired to hang out at.
That was where you got up.
And keep in mind, today's graffiti scene doesn't understand that back in the late 80s, like, I was one of the only white boys. Graffiti was not
Everyone thought you was Latino,
saturated
right?
with white boys.
They thought she was Mexican.
Yeah, I mean, they did just because I was like Joker.
And you're with
Baby Joker.
Yeah, and I was with
the culture.
But back in the days, it was unique to be a white kid hanging out in those scenes because you were one of the only white kids. And what that led to is being tested all the time. Like, oh, white boy, you know what I mean? You want to be hard. You want to.
You out here on our block? What you doing on our block?
And yeah, right. And so what that led to for me personally was always having to prove myself. And that's how I earned myself a reputation, because I learned pretty early that all I had to do was some crazy sick ass shit, and then people would not fuck with me after that.
Oh yeah,
he's cool.
That's a crazy white boy.
Oh, he's down. Yeah, don't fuck with him, bro.
Everyone has a crazy white boy.
Yeah, that's right. And I was that guy.
He's white. Don't leave him alone.
I was that guy. He wouldn't be here if he wasn't down. Just leave him alone.
Yeah.
He did this, and they would tell stories, and you know, and I carried a pistol, so you know what I mean, like
9 mil.
yeah.
Well,
so you know, like my reputation preceded me in a sense in some circles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can we just fast forward a little bit? Can you talk about was it an M80 M1000?
Oh shit!
Can you talk about that?
I did not know that was you. I saw it on the news and everything. I was like, who the hell?
I think I heard it.
Yeah,
it was on
you
World
probably
Star.
heard it. You probably heard
My
it.
mom, I know my mom heard
That
it.
shit was loud as fuck.
My mom's staying in the East, so
So there's actually a link to something we were talking about earlier. Remember the 3 felonies?
The 3 things.
So that's what I caught as a result of that viral video. So let me tell that story.
Yeah, let's talk
Because
about
that
it.
is a very misrepresented,
What were you trying? What were you trying to do?
misunderstood
What
story.
were you trying to do with that?
So
whole
let me
thing?
just first say that it was 4th of July.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't like a random Thursday.
No,
it was like
it was 4th of July.
And
no kids were at that school. Can I say
yes,
that?
and for the record, it's not a school. It's the back of a Boys and Girls Club. It's the
Okay,
back of a community
Boys
center.
and Girls. Okay.
And it was closed for the day. And what a lot of people don't realize, and of course you can't know by watching the video, is that historically in my part of the neighborhood, that is where everyone in the neighborhood lit their fireworks off.
Safe
Why? Because it's a safe place. It's a blank concrete
This is
open
facts.
schoolyard.
This is
So
facts.
every year, all the people would go down into that schoolyard and light their fireworks off, and it was sort of one of these things that was just not legal, but it was like tolerated because everyone knew that logically it was like a safe place, better than doing it in your backyard, better than doing it in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
So everyone would go into the schoolyard and light their fireworks when it got dark.
That's for the neighborhood too, though.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, okay.
Wait, for the people that don't know, go on Joker's page and see this fucking.
I recently I reposted on last 4th of July. It's like
The
not too
IG
far down.
JOK
This can fucking blew up, yo.
JOKRAE 415.
This can blew the fuck up.
So let me continue. So basically, granted, it was a little earlier than the traditional community firework time. It was
daylight. It was daylight.
It was
shit
in
was
the
like
middle of the
noon.
day. I had just copped about 20 M1000s from my plug,
20
which I will not name. You know who you are, boss.
know what it is.
Excelsior Cats.
Hey, you know what it is.
Him no more. That's it.
I love the Excelsior,
So I
man.
had copped my yearly $100 expenditure of fireworks, which included all the illegal fireworks you can think of, rubber candles, bottle rockets, and a nice little brick of M1000s. And
What does a brick for M1000 go on that market?
yeah, it's like 40 bucks. It's like 6 a piece. 6 a piece. That ain't bad. $40, and I had like, a little stack of them.
Curious. Okay.
And so I was like thinking of different cool things to do because people don't get it. Like before 9/11, back in the 80s, we used to like blow shit up for fun, and people would just like, boys will be boys. They like to blow things up.
Watermelons,
Yeah,
rats,
everything.
possums.
Yeah, garbage can lids, all of it, right? And so to keep it in perspective, I was just looking for something cool to blow up, and in the Instagram age, I was like, this will make a great video. So I premeditated and manicured. I was like, this is going to be cool. I took one of a tall Maximo cans for the writers that know what that is.
And you
It's a tall
taped
can
it.
of spray paint. I taped it on, and my reasoning was I set it. The only reason I set it next to the wall was so that I could duck behind the wall, behind the corner, and hold my phone out.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because a lot of comments on the reposted videos of this that has gone viral and has like upwards of like 100 million views total.
World star shit.
Yeah, and I'll get to that in a second how it went viral.
Fuckers.
But a lot of the comments are, you didn't run very far away.
You
But
have
what people don't realize is I didn't have to. What I did is I put my body around the corner and I stuck So I was filming with just my hand out from around the corner. So my body was actually, I had enfilade from the blast. And so...
Do you have the original footage of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I
posted it.
There's like... Yeah.
Hey, send that. We're going to put this shit in this play. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So I was like, this is going to be sick. I knew it was going to be fucking dope.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was, right? And it going viral was proof of that. So I fucking did it. Boom. Amazing. Couldn't have come out any better.
Yeah, that shit was perfect.
No,
motherfuckers thought that shit was fake.
Even the sound.
It was
A lot of people were like, that sound is fake. That's the explosion from what's that video game? Fortnite. They're like, that's the Fortnite explosion. And I'm like, no, dude, this is all analog. Like,
This is all analog.
yeah, like I just recorded it. Yeah, and it just came out amazing aesthetically as far as the video. Couldn't have come out better.
I thought you were trying to get like the color blast and then like.
Well, I was, and that's how I can say it was graffiti related. Because what I thought was, this is new territory in graffiti. Actually using an explosive device to propel your paint at a rate and a distance that has never been done before.
What color was that paint?
It was chrome, silver chrome.
It was silver chrome?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I knew that most of the paint would instantly incinerate in a cloud, but that some of it would splatter, and that would be the art left over. So I did have an artistic intent. But let's face it, I was pretty shit-faced at the time. I'd been drinking beers all day.
Do what you do.
And it was 4th of July. Man.
America.
So I went, I told my daughter, so coincidentally that schoolyard is actually right next door to my baby mama's house. Mm-hmm. And so my daughter, my baby mama, the last one. So they were watching from the backyard because the backyard shares the fence with literally is directly next door to where my baby mama
They
lives.
watched everything.
So they watched everything through the fence. Yeah. Anyway, I did it. Cool. Edited the video together. Made it. Posted it. Boom! It instantly started gathering. Like
it
started trending. Started trending. The views started. Yeah. Started trending, and then. So then I started getting texts from like my friends. And they're like, dude, this is dope, but like, are you sure it's a good idea? And I'm like, and I'm shit-faced at the time. It's like getting into the 4th of July. I'm like, dog, that shit was sick. Man, fuck the man, you know what I mean? Fuck them people. Fuck them people, man. I'm posting this shit, bro. This shit is sick. You know, I'm new levels of graffiti, man. We doing this shit. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm cocky. I'm trying to promote myself.
17. It was 2 years ago.
Yes, it was
2017.
It was actually 2018 because the 1 year anniversary just passed on 4th of July.
That's right. I'm sorry, you're right. That's right.
So the 1 year was this last 4th of July.
2018.
So anyway, long story short, I posted it, and then like I started thinking about it. I just kind of sobered up, and I was like, you know what?
Fuck. What did
I just do?
Maybe this is like bad news, and so I deleted it like about 4 hours after I had originally posted it.
Oh, so I seen the live version because was that a live video or was it just
there was no live
story?
video. It was just it was a post on my actual feed. It was not a story.
No story.
So it was a post on my feed. It started racking up views. It got like 10K views in the first like 15 minutes. It hit. So the ego in me, the part of all of us that get off on the views, I'm like, not literally, but I'm like, okay, I like this.
Literally, right? I'm out here.
This is working.
Keep watching my shit.
Yeah, keep watching my shit. I'm watching the views pile up. I keep refreshing. I'm watching the views jump, and I'm loving
4 hours, 15,000.
I really like. I started sobering up, and I was like, you know what?
What the fuck did I
I already got enough views. Like, take it down.
Yeah.
But it was too late. The next day, it popped up on WorldStar. It got like 50 million views in the first day. And then it popped up on, well...
Everything after that.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
So now it still gets reposted. I still get tagged in the repost to this day, a year plus later.
Yeah.
Altogether, total, I've estimated it's got about 100 million views. It was put on Facebook. It was posted by Freddie Gibbs.
Is that right?
On his personal Facebook.
Is that right?
It's been a part of like dumbest things on the internet posts.
Shout out.
It's been reposted by all the big like action pages.
Yeah.
And so
You did
back to my consequences for that.
Okay.
So about a week later, it took about a week.
Were you anticipating this?
My baby mama's house, which is right next door, gets raided by SFPD Arson Task Force today.
Because they consider it an explosive.
So I got hit with 3 charges. You can basically say they were terrorist charges. They were
Oh my God!
manufacturing of incendiary device, and then they were igniting as incendiary device in a public place, and then they were igniting incendiary device with intent to cause harm. And so they couldn't find me. So they raided my baby mama's house.
Okay.
First time. Then they came back a few days later, politely knocking on the door, freaking out my
Ground ears, daughters. Yeah.
Let's just say Nana, who was in the house.
Shout to Nana.
She's like, what the fuck? Yeah, shout to Nana. And then they even found my, at the time, side bitch's house. And they even raided her fucking house at 6 a.m. So at that point, people are snitching because none of that's on record anyway.
Yeah.
At that point, people are like, yeah, I know he fucks with this bitch. So they raided her fucking house at 6 in the morning.
Damn.
Now, luckily, they couldn't find where. Yeah, with a warrant.
The warrant.
They couldn't find where I lived, which was only a few blocks away. This is all in the Excelsior. So where I was staying at the time, I intentionally kept off the books, off the records. That was not my mailing address. That was not my address anywhere written down. And so I'm like chilling a few blocks away while these other houses are getting raided. And in retrospect, like I made sure that address wasn't on the record just for a scenario just like this. So they couldn't find me. They were looking for me. I'm like passing by these dudes in traffic. You know what I mean? And they're looking for me. And I'm watching these detective cars roll around the Excelsior looking for me on mission. Eventually, I realize I'm going to have to like face this. Yeah. So I, by the grace of the universe, or God, some people call it, I was able
Shout out to that positive
obtain,
energy.
that's right, that karma. I was able to obtain one of what I was told is one of the top 5 criminal defense attorneys in the city of San Francisco. Took my case pro bono.
Pro bono.
He said, Joker.
Shout him out.
Shout out to Michael Gaines. Thank you, brother.
Michael Gaines, you're a real
saved my life.
You saved art.
So
Michael Gaines saving art.
I went to elementary school with this man's son. He knew me as a young person. He is now one of the top criminal defense attorneys in San Francisco. I reached out to him. He agreed to take my case for pro bono, and here's what he said. He said, listen, Ethan.
Government name.
Or shall I call you Joker? And he said,
mention your full name.
because I'm good friends with your father, and because I knew you as a child growing up, and I've always liked you, I'm going to take your 3 felonies pro bono. And he's like, I charge 10 G's per felony. That's my rate. So I'm giving you $30,000 worth of legal defense for the for the free 99.
Off top. For the free 99.
Free 99. And he said, my only request of you to obtain my services is do not catch another case while we are fighting this case. And for those of you that wonder why I haven't fucking gone out there and gotten my bombing in, that's why. I've been fighting this case now for over a year. I'm still fighting it.
Respect my OG, man.
The prosecutors want to send me to prison for 10 years on terrorist arson charges.
What?
And because I have a good lawyer, knock on wood, I'm going to escape that. I'm going to escape with some sort of probation and maybe a fine because I have one of the best criminal defense lawyers reputable in San Francisco. This man walks into the courtroom at 8:50. I have 1 court date per month that I go to. That's part of my life now. And when he walks in, he's greeted by first name by the judge. So I somehow was blessed, and to me that's an indication that I still have some karmic resonance in the universe that's taking care of me, because my intention was not to harm anybody.
No, of course
was not to hurt any structures, was not to harm the Boys and Girls Club or the school. My intention was to do something that left an impression on people in an artistic way, and that has been accomplished.
Amen.
I wouldn't change it for the world.
Amen.
God damn.
Amen. Facts.
Facts up in this
Say for the people in the back, guys.
Hey.
Hell yeah.
Drink to that.
All right, and just to, this has been an intense podcast.
We're
gonna need you to come back.
We're gonna need you to come back.
Is that okay?
Bro, let's do this every motherfucking week.
Okay. Joker.
I mean, if not, just to get away from our kids.
Everyone needs that time out. Everyone needs that time out. Anything you want to share with the universe? 2 minutes. Share with the universe. 2 minutes.
So one thing that I haven't said yet is that I'm on a spiritual path, man. It's corny and all that, but at my age, we seek to be a force of good. My motivation in life is not money. It's not wealth. It's not ego-serving material things or clout.
Okay.
My goal in life, and really as a result of being a father and having children that have to live here after I'm gone,
Grandchildren,
is to leave a positive impression on the earth and on the people I encounter on a day-to-day basis. There's a lot of bullshit and money chasing and clout chasing going on, especially with this new generation. I see my son and my daughter struggling with social media and how to navigate that. And I do my best to guide them and to teach them that the true value of life and the only thing you can take with you when you're on your deathbed is how you positively impacted other people and made the world a better place.
Hell yeah.
And I've come to believe that is the most important thing in life. And so obviously life is complex, it's nuanced, feelings and emotions change and shift with the weather and with what's going on in your lives. But as an overall arching goal, I just want to have a legacy that spreads light and love to the people I've interacted. And I try my best to do that with my art form and with my craft. And not everybody can soak that from me, but the ones that can are better off for it. And for that, I know I've done a good job.
You have. God damn. You have. Damn. You have.
My drops. Drop the mic.
Right.
Should not be fair. There is no way I can top that. There is no way I can top that.
Right down, Brian.
Joker.
Kids are coming
I am so appreciative of your time and your energy on this podcast. You shared so much gems and positive energy. I can only return it. Free99 Podcast, Joker, you have a permanent home here. If you ever want to come and speak your truth, I know you a long time, but we never got to this. But me and you's always been solid. Me and you's always been solid, but we never got to this. So
that's all that is. That's right here.
You know what I mean? Right there, real talk. Joker, you're a man. I appreciate you. Shout out to your children, your children's children. This is the Free99 Podcast, Spotify, Instagram,
I love
YouTube. iHeartRadio, SoundCloud,
everything.
What's the IG one time for the people in the back?
Jokre 415. That's JOKRE 415. I love y'all. Thank you. Be positive. Be blessed.
Free99 Podcast. Let's go.